Peace and blessings, family. My name is Jay, and I'm back with you guys today to talk about these planets, the planets in astrology again. And in our last one, we talked about the sun, the sun, moon, and Mars. Now, in this one, we're going to talk about Venus, because we did with your sun and your moon. What's your sun and your moon? Your sun and your moon is like your black and you're black and you're white. You're male and female and all that. So now that's kind of like how I'm going to do these planets like that, and like that's fashion, that order. I'll be able to look at it. So since we did Mars, naturally we're going to do Venus now, just to bring the balance. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get right into it. So, um, Venus. Venus is like it's a lot of ways I could tackle it. It's a lot of ways that I could break this down. But anyway, let's just get right into it. So Venus is the planet that deals with the love, how we like to give and receive it, or give and take, how we like to look at that. But it also deals with like beauty and self love. And since it deals with giving and receiving, it's like, but the main one is like giving. It also deals with like what we have to offer, or more so, and what it is that we have to offer. Will show it's going to show others what we value. You get it. So since it's also a point that deals with values, because what you love is what you value, and what you value is something that you're going to be something that you are going to be you know um, very 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 nurturing and protective over, whether it's like being clean, safe for something safe for something physical. You're gonna always be constantly be around that if it's a person, place, or a thing. And in more intimate ways, if it's a person, you're probably into them. But anyway, but yeah, if not like a physical attachment for it's something you may love or indulge in, which will lead you cling to that physically. It could be something that you cherish within and value internally, and so it'll be something that you're emotionally, are emotionally nurturing, over or attached to. Take it how you want it. And so whatever that is on the outside of the inside that you value, and it will tell what it is that you have to offer. That's also what it is. Since you like that, since you value that, that's also something that you would like to get back. You know, and that leads me to like another thing. What the things that you love, um, are the things that you love, and more so, the things that you love are the things that you're attracted to. And why I say that, because another way, that's like another way of breaking it down. The things that you show people the things that when you show people what you have to offer, they know what you're attracted to, and then that's also going to be what you like to. That's also what you're going to attract to, because you're showing people what you're into and what it is that you value. You get it? But yeah, like I said, it's like a couple of different ways of saying it. It'll get to a point to where it sounds like the same thing is being repeated over and over, because that's naturally what it gets to. So anyway, let's move on and bring more depth to it, and more, more like, bring more. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I already said depth. Let's just stick with depth. Always trying to make things complicated. Yeah. Anyway, now the planet Venus actually rules over two signs, and it's more of a Libra. It's Taurus and Libra. And if you ask me, I say Venus definitely is more for Libra than it is Taurus, but to each their own. But anyway, let's get into it. So what is Taurus? Taurus is fixed. Is a fixed Earth sign, and we know fixed by default means being set in something, being set in, like basically being set in and fixated, focused on something, rooted in. And this can lead to like stagnation, being stuck, and we know that being in a state of stagnation, being stuck, can lead to like that can lead to obsession, which can lead to possession. But yeah, and then it's Earth, so all that can be applied to things that deal with your stability, security. And then Taurus is if Venus can be associated, Venus is associated with actually let's talk about Libra first, where we can get to the houses and all that. And so what's Libra? Libra's cardinal air. We know cardinal deals with taking action, initiating, creating, being a leader, and we know air deals with your ability to. The air element deals with your. Um, it deals with the mental. It deals with the intellectual side of life and your ability to analyze and analyze and criticize and categorize and organize and bring structure and rationality, communication to things. So there's a lot of ways to look at that too. And that's Libra. That's Libra. And then air is kind of like water in a way, but water does it by the vibe, while um, air does it with the thought. But water and air like to be, water and air, the two signs like to be, compassionate, compromising, and relatable. Yeah. But like I said earlier, water does it emotionally, air does it more so intellectually and through communication. And yeah, and trying to be rational. And then another thing with rationality by default means that you're trying to, you know, um, bring, and then another thing, like real quick, what does rationality deal with? Rationality is the opposing half of rationality. So usually when you're being experiencing things that don't make sense, what do? You utilize that rationality, try to make sense out of things that don't make sense. So yeah, that's how you do that. But anyway, so I'll get into that. I'll get deep into that in a minute. Now, now she's trying to go upstairs. Anyway, now we know that there's houses associated with all these signs, and in the same order, the signs like the house is the same thing. So that lets you know that the house is, like rules over these signs, or if you don't like to say rules, you can say associated. But anyway, yeah. Now the second house this is your house of values, and that rules over Taurus, and then the seventh house, which is your house of relationships, that house rules over Libra. So now, um, the second house, which deals with your house of values, what you value is like the things that you care about and you're fixated on, and we talked about, and since it's also a fixed house, and we know the fixed modality deals with all things that possess and have possession over, and hopefully it's not a person, whether that's a person, place, or thing. And I say person, place, or thing, but this is the house that rules over Taurus, and Taurus is the Earth sign. Earth deals with the physical for the most part. So, yeah, well, this more than one interpretation of things. So yeah, now and then going back to what Venus talking about, your values and all that. You kind of see why it's associated with the house of values for the most part. Talking too much detail, but now I like to say that Venus is more like a Libra type. It more fits more with Libra than it does Taurus. So, but I'll explain that now. See now how Venus deals with Venus is being the planet of love and giving and receiving, and how Libra is associated with the seventh house, and the seventh house is the house of relationships. Just the house of sacrificing yourself for others. Being giving of yourself to others. Kind of see why I put kind of say why I see Venus is more associated with Libra than it is Taurus, because what Venus is about is fits Libra more so than does Taurus, but to each their own. Now, yeah. And then with relationships deal with how by default they deal with how you are able to relate to others outside of yourself, which is which is that opposite of Aries. But you gotta watch my Aries and Libra videos for get into that. But yeah, now here Venus deals with love, and beauty and self worth, what you value and possess, that what you have to offer and all that, and those resources, how you go about giving and receiving and all that. So like I always say, you put Venus in a certain sign, and then that it's in a certain house. Now let's get to that. And so you put Venus in, say you put Venus in your put Venus in your fourth house, or Venus in your 10th house, or something like that. And you put Venus in like your fourth house or your 10th house, and say like the sign of Gemini, or the sign of like it's natural sign of Libra. We're gonna go to Libra because it's the easiest thing. So you put Venus in the fourth house. What does the fourth house deal with? Fourth house deals with your home and family, and anything that deals with like things that are domestic, and your and not only the home and the family, but the mother and your emotions. And so, and more so like emotional, emotional security and all that, and emotional comfort. Like I say, it's a lot of ways to look at it. But yeah, so obviously with Venus here and in the sign of Libra, well, since we know Venus is the planet of love and those with giving and receiving, naturally the first thing that comes to mind is like when it comes to things that deal with like the family and home and the emotions, like emotional security. You have a love, you have a love for all things that deal with that. You have a love for the home. You have a love, you have a love for the you have a love for the family. You like to be nurturing and care about and value your family and all that. And then when how you go about, how you actually go about, showing that though is through, through the Libra energy, which is ruled by Venus, so the natural ruler. And it's like you go about showing your love and, care and value of the family and the home through, constantly being, through being through being relatable and compromising in the home, whether it's with your, whether it's with your own, whether it's with your like the family that you came from, like your roots, your roots in your past, or whether it's with the family that you have created. So, like I say, it's a lot of ways to look at it, and express and communicate it. But yeah, like I always say when I get to the videos where we talk about the planets and the signs and planets and the houses, it's all going to be more clear because it's like you trying to, it's kind of like we cross, kind of like crossing and intertwining things from like different aspects of astrology in one video, so it can be like, oh my god, like and you'll be like, huh, like, it happens, but the more use you get to all of it, the more it makes more sense, and that's like for anything in life. But yeah, oh, but yeah, for the most part, guys, this is my take on the planet Venus. As I always say, and I definitely probably gonna need some feedback on this one. At least I think so. And that's, but yeah, and that's this is my take on the planet Venus. As I always say, if you like, if you like, you feel free to give it a like. If you got any constructive criticism or some feedback, um, feel free to add that. And in doing that, it's gonna, Shonda. But yeah, anyway, it's gonna make y'all it'll help me serve you guys better, and that's ultimately what the goal is here, to bring the best content possible to you guys, because I truly do care about you guys' opinions and stuff. Because what's the creator without their crowd, without their um following, and their, it's a lot of words, it's a lot of labels to use, but y'all get it. But yeah, with that being said, I love y'all, and I hope y'all enjoyed this once again. And with that, I'll talk to you guys later. And then the next one's I'm gonna be talking about, Mercury and Jupiter, Mercury and Jupiter and all that. So yeah, be ready for that. But yeah, you get there when it gets there. For now, until then, peace.